Alright ladies, we all heard about red flags, right? The obvious warning signs that you notice when you're getting to know a man. But here's something that I don't think gets talked about nearly enough, and that is the green flags. The behaviors that may not be flashy or dramatic, but they're reassuring, and they quietly lay the foundation for real trust and long-term commitment. Because let's be honest, being good at spotting red flags only helps you avoid disaster, but knowing how to recognize green flags is what helps you build a relationship that is actually fulfilling. Now, I want to be clear that what I'm about to share with you doesn't come from romantic comedies or funny TikToks. These are insights that I've gathered over the years, and many of them come from men who have been happily married for decades. And when I say happily, I mean it. I'm not just talking about couples who stay together for the sake of the kids or to avoid starting over. I'm talking about couples who genuinely respect and enjoy each other after 20, 30, even 40 years together. My name is Ismael Gomez. I'm a coach, writer, and speaker, and I hope that you're not multitasking right now if you want to learn about the 5 green flags that consistently show up in high-quality, emotionally secure men. So pay close attention, because these are the traits that will help you make better choices in your dating life. Okay, so let's begin. Number 1. He can handle a no without getting vengeful. Now here's a truth that might surprise you, and that is a man's ability to handle your no reveals more about his character than how he responds to your yes. It's easy to be charming when things are going your way, when plans align, when the mood is right, when you're agreeing with him, but what happens when you disagree? When you tell him that you're not in the mood, when you set a boundary that he didn't see coming? A real green flag is a man who respects your autonomy without trying to punish you for it later on. Let's say that maybe you turned down his suggestion to spend the night, and instead of saying anything, he just goes quiet, for a few days. Or maybe you offered an opinion that he didn't like, and suddenly his affection drops off. And that is not a mature man who understands boundaries. When a mature man hears no, he doesn't take it as a personal attack. He doesn't withhold attention or affection to teach you a lesson. He might not agree with your boundary, but he respects that it's yours to set. I used to let my ego keep score in many of my past relationships. If a woman rejected an invitation, if she said that she didn't want to go out that night, I would wait for her to ask me for something just so I could say no and feel like we were even. And honestly, a lot of content online encourages this kind of thinking for both men and women. If he does this, don't text him so he can respect you. But the truth is that when you play that game, you're just lowering yourself to his level of emotional maturity, and that never ends well. Trust me. Number 2. His character is consistent with everyone. Always watch how he treats people who can't do anything for him. For example, I'm part of a real estate group, with a lot of high status men, and I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys who are charming with the boss, the clients, the Instagram influencers, but as soon as they're around someone beneath them, it's like a switch flips. They're getting patient, dismissive, cold. Because here's the thing, if he extremely adjusts his behavior depending on who he's with, that inconsistency is going to show up in your relationship as well. Today he's sweet and thoughtful, tomorrow he's cold and distant, and you have no idea what changed, only that something feels off. On the flip side, a man with true integrity treats the janitor with the same level of respect as he would the CEO. Again, pay attention how he treats everyone that interacts with him, If he's consistent, that consistency builds trust, and trust is the quiet anchor of every healthy relationship. Number 3. He considers your feelings even when he disagrees. So let's say there's something that he does completely triggers you, and maybe it's not a rational fear, maybe it's rooted in something from your past, maybe you can't even fully explain it why it bothers you, but it just does. A man who values you won't dismiss that. He won't call you crazy or emotional. For example, if you say that it makes you uncomfortable when he spends time with a female friend, instead of mocking you or calling you insecure, he's going to respond with, let's talk about it. What's going on? Why do you feel this way? Now, understand that he may not fully agree with your perspective. He might even feel misunderstood. But instead of getting defensive or shutting down, he stays open to finding a compromise. And maybe that looks like introducing you to her so you can get to know her better. Or maybe he stops hanging out with her one-on-one only when there's other people around. And all of this is not because he's afraid of losing you, but because your peace of mind matters to him. And again, this doesn't mean that you agree on everything, but it does mean that he considers how his choices affect you. Not out of obligation, but because he genuinely cares. Number 4. He brings clarity, not confusion. A man who's emotionally available doesn't leave you guessing. If you have to dissect every text, analyze every emoji, wonder if a delayed reply means something deeper, you're in the wrong dynamic. This is going to sound silly, but real green flag energy is when you ask a question and he answers it. Not vaguely, not defensively, just plainly and clearly. You want to know where he stands about something, he tells you. You feel unsure about a conversation that you had last week, he's happy to revisit it. If you need clarification on where the relationship is going, he doesn't dodge the question. And let me add this. Men who tell the truth don't have to rehearse their stories, They don't need to keep track of inconsistencies or little lies. Their answers match their actions, and that creates a sense of safety that you can feel in your nervous system. Clarity is what allows love to grow, and when a man gives you that, it's definitely a top green flag on my list. And final, number 5, he speaks kindly about his past relationships. Okay, maybe you heard this one before, but one of the strongest green flags is how a man talks about the women that he's no longer with. Because here's the thing, emotionally healthy people can look back at past relationships with empathy and compassion. They're not stuck in blaming the other person, they processed what happened and they've taken responsibility for their part. And I know what you're thinking, that if he speaks kindly about an ex, it doesn't mean that he's still hung up on them, okay? It means that he's done the work to understand why things didn't work out. When a man can speak about his exes without bitterness, it signals growth. He doesn't need to trash someone else to make himself look innocent. He can acknowledge mistakes, pain, without dragging it into his next relationship. And that tells you that he's ready for something new, something real, and something healthy. Now, after listening to these 5 green flags, I know that you might be thinking, but Ismael, finding men like this is so rare. And that might be a limiting belief, because I don't think that they're rare. I think that a lot of them are actually overlooked. Because when you've been conditioned to chase chemistry, excitement, or the need of fixing someone, these green flags can seem boring at first. And here's the question that I have for you today, okay? And let me know in the comments. And I want you to take a minute to think about this deeply and answer honestly. Have you ever met a man who had all these 5 green flags, but you were just not attracted to him? Because what I've seen happen a lot is that some of you ladies overlook men like this simply because the spark was not there right away. But remember that attraction can grow. But if you expect to fall in love at first sight, you might end up disappointed every time. Anyways, thank you for subscribing to my channel. I'm glad that you chosen me to learn about self-love, dating, and relationship dynamics. Because like I always say, for your relationships to change, you need to change, okay? Have a beautiful day.